Hey, today is day 22. We are at this first shelter here in the Smokies and going to try to make another 14-mile day to Siler's Bald. Should be going over some cool peaks today. The weather's supposed to be coming in tomorrow, so the wind howled all night last night, but we were nice and toasty in our shelter that I showed you, and so about ready to hit the trail, and I'll share with you anything come across interesting. Hope everybody's doing well. Pretty awesome walk, beautiful day again today. So you do have to drop a permit when you come into the Smokies. It's $20, and you print it out on a piece of paper and you tear it in half, and half of it goes in the box and the other half stays with you. And yesterday afternoon there was a ridge runner. Now ridge runner, they're not a game warden. Game wardens carry, firearms, and if I'm not mistaken, they have arresting ability and certainly writing tickets and whatnot. But anyway, the ridge runner came up and talked and asked to see my permit, and I had it. And I did ask him, I said, so what would you do? What would our conversation be like if I didn't have my permit? And he said, well, I'd just help you get one. I have some paper copies here. We would deal with the transaction, and then I would call it in to headquarters. So anyway, they are checking all that. And it's kind of like having a fishing license, If you buy your fishing license or hunting license and you go out in the woods, you almost want to get checked if you spent that money. So, but I did yesterday. But he said he's the only guy in the whole southern outback area of the Smokies. So he's got a lot of ground to cover. So I don't know if that was lucky to see him or they try to touch it up pretty good. But anyway, thought I'd share that with you. Very grassy up here. Parts of it reminds me of like a pecan or peach orchard. Kind of neat. And I think I'm coming to a pretty cool view up here also. There's the view. Forgive the wind noise. That's what I mean about this. You never know what you're going to, what you might hit each day as you come. It's cool. That was quite a climb. And forgive the wind, but this is Rocky Top. First big climb. Still not even 100% sure I'm at the top. But you can see Fontana Lake down there. And that's crazy. I was just there yesterday. Man, I'm telling you, if you get up and walk, you can get places. And this is where I am now. Man. All right, wanted to get a little philosophical. You can tell my hat's back around. My buddy David McDermott, he used to say it's time to roll your sleeves up and turn your hat around and get it done. Today's been a very difficult hike physically, but it reminded me of something, and I don't know, I just want to share this for me to be able to remember, and if it encourages somebody, great. But what that is that as long as you're taking a step towards your goal, that's cool. Sometimes we get so caught up that the goal's so far away, why even try? It reminds me of one of my favorite authors is Andy Stanley, and he has a book called The Principle of the Path. And he talks about that the direction is much more important than the intention. And that's just what reminded me in hiking today, is that there were some moments where I was just like happy to get one step after the next step. But then eventually I made it up the mountain. Now I still got a few miles to the shelter, but anyway, I just wanted to share that. So, and it's the educator in me to share with you and maybe even challenge you if you're watching this to, what are your goals? We were talking the other night, and we were specifically talking about hiking, and it says you can either talk or you can walk. And you know, talking's great, and that's not a judgment on anyone. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not taking a step towards your goals, they're not going to get any closer. So just, I don't know, that was something that I reflected on as I was hiking today, and wanted to remember. And so if you get anything out of that, you know, that's awesome. But I'm about to strap the bag back on and keep my hat turned around backwards, and can't roll my sleeves up. These just kind of slide up. But anyway, I'm going to try to get after it. Trail life probs. All these leaves have blown into the trail and look nice, but there's roots and rocks underneath that you can't see. So, like I said, trail life probs. First sign for Clingmans Dome. Should hit that tomorrow morning. So this is kind of cool. That is 2,000. Now what's significant about that, and I'm sure you can figure it out, it's not rocket science, but for Sobos, guys heading south, this is the 2,000th mile. So that's kind of a big deal. I'm about to hit 200 miles, so got a lot to look forward to, but that's pretty neat. It's a little heart tree. Look at that. It is morning time. It's windy, and that's part of the drama. So, you know, backpacking and long distance hiking, a lot of it is problem solving and trying to figure out. Now, there are different types of problems that we would face out here than we would in town. So they may seem simple, but they can be hard. So today, here's the deal. There's rain coming. We're about to get to Clingmans Dome, which is the highest point on the trail. Also mile marker 200, which is exciting. And then, so we had a choice. Do we try to make it to the road to get a shuttle into town? So what we've decided to do is to get to a shelter past Clingmans and just kind of hunker down for the rain. Special shout out to Grant Dade, my meteorologist buddy, who's in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, giving us some weather updates. So that's the plan for today. I don't know how much hiking I'll do. Tell you what, I'm gonna walk out just for a video I'll do. Here's the wind. It's windy right now, and it's supposed to get gusts up to 50 miles an hour, he says. And this is crazy. But that's why I'm out here, to adventure. All right, so we're kicking on. 511's getting excited out there about something. Wind is kicking pretty good, but let me show you. I told you that when you get into higher elevations, the plants and trees would start to change. So this is the first time I started seeing these different types of, they're still evergreens, or they are evergreens, but they're firs, or I wish I knew exactly, but just check this out. It's kind of cool. See this type of, this is just reaching into it. But look at that view out there. It's remarkable. Sorry for the wind, it's crazy. There's Montana Lake way down there. That's where we were 2 days ago. So going to backtrack a little bit. I didn't record any before I went to bed. I'm still moving on my way up to Clingmans Dome, but yesterday we had a 14-mile day, and that was our second 14-mile day in a row. And I know I realized that was just too much for me. I'm comfortable between 10 and 12 right now, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I was really aggravated. The phone wasn't working. Then I lost battery, couldn't get a signal, which I guess I should just leave that in my pack and not worry about it. But anyway, by the time I got to the shelter, I was whooped. But we got ahead of some folks. The shelter was just us three, and had a nice night. It was actually my best night's sleep on the trail, which was very nice. And so anyway, just wanted to catch you up on that. Yesterday afternoon was not one of my finest moments. I was fussing and cussing and carrying on at nobody, just the trail, just at life in general. But I made it, kept going, had a good night's sleep, and now we're on the way today. So anyway, I figure I'd share the good and the bad. Don't let anybody tell you this thing is a walk in the roses. There is some beautiful sights and beautiful views and amazing memories, and we're going to have great stories to tell, but it can be a grind at times. But today we're kind of running on adrenaline a little bit. And today's a new day. And like Robin Hines used to always say, half the battle's just showing up. Half the battle's getting up and going. So that's what I'm trying to do. Very obvious the forest has changed. These firs or spruce or I don't know what they are. They're cool, I know that. We are deep in this forest now. This is so cool. They have these small little pine cones. You can see how small they are. See my hand? Awesome. Awesome, awesome. You may be getting tired of seeing this, but I'm gonna tell you, it is just the coolest place. And I wish you had smell-o-vision. You can just smell that pine scent. This is so cool. I feel like a hobbit needs to jump out. Well, that is Clingmans Dome right there. I'm less than a mile away, and it looked like the clouds are right there. So I think we're going to get to the top and get socked in, but you get the idea. You can tell I'm just starting to get into the clouds, so this is about to be it as far as views. But we're less than a mile to the top. All right, 0.3 to the tower. If anybody's interested, there is a bypass trail around Clingmans, but we've come this far, we're not going to bypass it. All right, a little embarrassing, but I figure I'll share the bad too. So I was talking big and bad about the sign and the approach trail and the bypass trail, and we're too close. Well, dummy me, let me just show you. Here's the sign. Well, there's a blaze right there. And there's a pretty good looking trail right there. We get about probably over a quarter of a mile, and we notice we're on the daggum bypass trail. So we had to U-turn it back up, and now we're right. So we just needed burn a few more calories. So if you're ever coming up here, make sure you pay attention when you get to the bypass trail. To don't take the path less taken, or to take the path less taken, I should say. Okay, even with mistakes, we made it to the top. We're not gonna, there's a little side trail that takes you actually to the tower, but it's completely socked in. But this is mile 200, and we got 4 miles to go to the shelter. Hopefully we can beat the rain and get settled in and just hunker down for a little bit. All right, there is the tower, but I'm not going to go up there. It's just because, let me show you what you would see. That's about it. I'm gonna go Lion King a little bit. Check this circle of life action. This tree has fallen and it is dying and decomposing, and look, new life is growing out of it. It's amazing how that cycle works. It's the perfect tree. It's not going in our yard, Russ. It's going in our living room. All right, well, we have made it to the shelter. So that was about a 7-mile day. Made it over, what was the mountain we went over? Clingmans Dome. And got, out of the rain. Let me tell you, if you ever question Grant Dade as a weather guy, don't. He said it's going to start raining right at 1 to 4. It started raining at 1 o'clock. And I was about 15 minutes away from getting in the shelter, so I got rained on a little bit. But he did his job. I just didn't get here quick enough. So we're here, probably going to hang here all night. Then we got some decisions to make, whether we're going to go into town and resupply into Gatlinburg, which I think is leaning more likely that way, because we still have, I think, about 30 miles of the Smokies. It's kind of frustrating because we're limited to the shelters, and from here on out it looks like it's either about 8 miles gap, so you're either going to go 8 miles or 16, and 8 miles you can do more, but 16 is just too much, but we'll figure it out. Alrighty, that's it for today, unless there's something else.